You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. Today we're looking into a major legal update in the ongoing case against R. Kelly. The U.S. Supreme Court has officially declined to review the appellate court decision in his Chicago case with no clear reason, leaving questions about fairness, due process and constitutional rights hanging in the balance. For supporters of R. Kelly, this decision is a frustrating blow, but it also raises critical questions about the justice system that impact everyone and not just him. A few weeks back in October 2024, the Supreme Court declined to review the appellate court's ruling in R. Kelly's Chicago case. This means the previous decision by the appellate court, which was to uphold the Chicago trial court verdict, will stand. While the High Court doesn't typically explain why it refuses cases, it's important to note that this isn't a ruling on R. Kelly's guilt or innocence. It simply means the court has chosen not to intervene at this time. For Mr. Kelly and his legal team led by attorney Jennifer Bonjean, this decision represents another hurdle in their ongoing fight to appeal his convictions and bring his case to a wider judicial audience. His supporters argue that the denial is less about the merits of his case and more about the Supreme Court's strict criteria for granting reviews. The court hears only about 1% of petitions filed annually, focusing primarily on cases with national significance or conflicting lower court rulings. The Chicago case is a pivotal part of the R. Kelly legal narrative. From allegations of child exploitation and obstruction of justice, the Chicago case, combined with others in New York and Minnesota that were dropped prematurely by Kim Foxx, paints a larger picture of R. Kelly's legal battles spanning the past 5 years. However, these cases have been plagued by procedural irregularities, media bias and a rush to judgment. In Chicago specifically, questions arose about the admissibility of certain evidence, and whether Kelly's defense team was given a fair chance to argue its case. For R. Kelly supporters, these aren't just technicalities but fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution being violated. The Sixth Amendment guarantees the right to a fair trial, and any breach of this principle should concern all Americans regardless of how they feel about R. Kelly personally. It was already unfortunate enough to see obstruction charges which allege that R. Kelly did interfere with the 2008 trial when he allegedly obstructed justice, which is a federal crime. Thankfully, even after forcing the charges on his charge sheet, the jury managed to find him and his co-accused not guilty of obstruction charges. As if to say the judge Harry Leinenweber was not convinced, we got to learn later on during the appeal process that even after the jury ruled, he personally still believed that there had been obstruction of justice and therefore issued his own judgment on the sidelines and accompanied this with a rather harsh 20-year sentence. It is this exorbitant sentence, together with issues against the coercion and enticement charges, that Ms. Bonjean was appealing against during the Chicago appeal. It's impossible to discuss R. Kelly's legal battles without acknowledging the enormous influence of public opinion and media coverage. From documentaries to viral hashtags, Kelly's story had been played out in the court of public opinion long before it reached the courtroom. His supporters argue that this environment made it nearly impossible for him to receive a fair trial, as jurors and judges alike were subjected to the same media narratives as the rest of us. How much should public sentiment influence the justice system? But really, should someone's guilt or innocence be determined by verbal evidence or testimonies presented in court, or by the loudest voices on the outside? For Kelly's team, the witness seems to have played a significant role in his trials, overshadowing the principle of innocent until proven guilty. With the Supreme Court's denial, R. Kelly's legal options in the Chicago case may have narrowed but not closed off completely, and attorney Jennifer Bonjean says that the fight is not over yet. His attorneys have pledged to continue challenging other aspects of his convictions, focusing on issues such as prosecutorial misconduct, evidence admissibility and the overall fairness of the trials. In fact, these appeals are not just about freeing R. Kelly, but they're also about exposing potential flaws in the justice system that could affect anyone. Because we now know evidence was mishandled and that procedural errors occurred, those issues deserve to be addressed regardless of the individual involved. This is not just about one man. It's rather about maintaining the integrity of the entire justice system for all America. The R. Kelly case, like many high-profile trials, forces us to confront difficult questions about the balance between justice and fairness. How do we ensure that the system works for everyone, even those who are unpopular or accused of heinous crimes? Are we willing to sacrifice due process for the sake of expediency or public pressure? These are questions that go beyond R. Kelly today. They touch on fundamental principles of American law and democracy. Supporters of R. Kelly argue that if these principles can be undermined in his case, then they can be undermined in anyone's. It therefore should be a national issue for every American citizen to advocate that R. Kelly's case be granted a retrial. It's important to remember that the fight for justice isn't just about one person. It's about upholding the rights that protect us all. Rights that ensure every individual, no matter who they are, receives a fair trial and equal treatment under the law. For supporters of R. Kelly, the Supreme Court's denial is a setback, but it's not the end. It's a reminder to stay vigilant and to continue asking questions, and to never lose faith in the pursuit of fairness and truth. One thing, however, remains clear: the fight for justice is far from over. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. What do you think about the Supreme Court's decision to deny R. Kelly's Chicago appeal a well-deserved review? If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.